go down. Sonia, you and Sandy got to stay since y'all preacher's daughters. All right, now, we want to just tell you a little bit of what's going on. You probably, if you look that way, you see part of the parking lot out here is being fixed. Well, Brother Chris's dad volunteered to hand do it. They want thousands of dollars with these big machines coming in. So when you do it by hand, you can do it cheaper. Because see, you don't have to pay for the machine. And so what happens is we've started sealing it, and they're going to restripe it and all that, and it's going to be beautiful when we get through. So if you feel led of the Lord to give an offering toward that, it'd be fine. Everything we've been doing around here for 15 years has been by faith. They give me the keys, and I open these doors up in here with an empty building by faith. And then $8,000 roof need to be put on, so we put it on by faith. And then those pews was ragged, and children, at that time we had children coming through here. You know how kids are, if they're not disciplined, they would throwing the foam out at each other, and so the pews was ragged, and by faith, a man walked up to me and said, Brother Pauley, said, and he's not from this church, he said, God told my wife and I to pay to have these pews padded with the best pad, 4 inches of solid foam rubber, $5,800 by faith. He wrote the check. So if you feel led to give anything on the parking lot, we appreciate it by faith, and if you can't give anything, we still appreciate that by faith. But I just thought I'd have two. See, Brother Pauley was a preacher, and lay preacher, and he worked the job. And Sandy and Sonia's a preacher's daughter. And of course, Sonia, all she's known is moving, and that's a little old heart, Roger. She wound up with 2 or 3 high school class rings because she went to 3 different high schools. Then she went back and graduated from one that she didn't have a class ring from. And then she traded all 3 of those rings for a little doggy. Isn't that amazing? But anyway, sometimes preachers' children go through a lot of things because they have to travel and have to go and so forth. But I want them each to speak. And Sister Paula, if you're uncomfortable, we'll get you a chair. If you know, at least 5 minutes on what do you think a godly father should be like? A father, I'm just going to say father. What do you think a father should be like? Of course, first of all, he ought to be like God if he's godly and he loves the Lord. But Sandy, you come first, okay? And then Sonia get an idea what to say. But I know that you had a godly father. I've known this man. I've never heard him complain. He went to me with a missions convention in Kentucky, and he got sick on some turkey that they didn't cook good. And he couldn't eat nothing for several days because I told him, don't eat anything. We'll get you some vinegar. And so after 2 or 3 days, he looked at me and he said, Brother Bo, do you think it'd be all right to eat? And I said, what do you think? He said, I feel good. So he's been eating ever since. Sandy, good to see you.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
I really don't like to get the mic when I want to talk about my mom and dad because it touches my heart. Such a blessed woman. All my life, I've been a blessed woman. And you know, when you're a kid, you don't realize how good you have it. Especially, you don't know what other children go through, that they don't have godly parents. And those that really love the Lord. But I'm thankful. I am so thankful for my parents. I'm going to try. I thought it was amusing that you would ask me to speak because I do get emotional about my parents. But I found this poem, and it speaks about my dad. It says, God took the strength of a mountain, the majesty of a tree, the warmth of a summer sun, the calm of a quiet sea, the generous soul of nature, the comforting arm of night, the wisdom of the ages, the power of eagle's flight, the joy of a morning in spring, the faith of a mustard seed, the patience of eternity, the depth of a family need. Then God combined these qualities. Then he washed it with the precious blood of his Son, Jesus Christ. And he knew his masterpiece was complete, and so he called it Dad. And I looked at that and I thought about so many times that my daddy, he would walk to work, and it didn't matter what the weather was. He would get out and he would go early in the morning and walk to work and walk home. It didn't matter if it was snow, sleet, or rain. He was just like a postman. He just kept on going because he had 4 kids. And he always was out there to take care of his children. And I just want to thank him. I thank you, Daddy, because you were a godly man. You didn't just believe in hard work and taking care of your family, but you showed us an example of meek. Because I've always felt like my dad was of the Beatitudes, where it said, the meek shall inherit the earth. That's my daddy. Yes. He's meek, but he's not weak. And we can't get that confused.
Right.
He's just precious. He loves everybody, and he'd give them the shirt off his back. And I've seen it so many times. Yes. When people were in need, and Daddy did that. I have a card that I wanted to read to him. A dad is daughter's best example. The most important man in my life taught me what matters most in this world. To always do the right thing, that your word is your word, that your legacy reaches farther than you'll ever know. He taught me that family comes first, that anything worth having is worth working for, and how important it is to come through the people who count on you. The most important man in my life showed me how to live. I learned from the best. I learned from my daddy. And this goes for all dads. You know?
Yes. Yes.
Your children are your legacy.
Yes.
How you teach them, how you show them.
Yes.
You don't just talk the talk, but you walk the walk.
Yes.
And he wasn't one that would always say, well, y'all go do what you got to do. I'm not going to do anything. He would get out there and he would go to work. And he would take care of his family. But he also raised us in church, and always said that I was drugged because I was drugged to church. And I'm thankful for it now. I'm thankful because it's in my heart that that's where I want to be. I want to be in the presence of the Lord, and I want to be amongst the people of God, to lift up the name of the Lord in song and in praise in a corporate setting, to give God all the glory for the many blessings that I have. And my biggest blessings are my mama and my daddy. And I just thank you.
Thank you, Sandy. God bless you. Would the rest of the Pauley family stand up? Them 3 fine boys, the one over here, and they are all practically musical. I hadn't heard those 2 play.